My HOA has a compliance officer named Karen. She walks around with a color wheel to check if lawns match the approved shade of grass. Last month, after a heat wave, a tiny patch of my front yard turned slightly yellow. 2 days later, I got a registered letter. It was a $50 fine. They demanded 100% lush green coverage within 2 weeks, or the penalties would escalate. I was broke and furious. I spent the night reading the HOA bylaws and found a massive loophole. Section 4 states the yard must have continuous living green coverage. It never specifies grass. I smiled and bought 10 pounds of aggressive wild mint seeds. Wild mint is a biological weapon. It has an unstoppable root system that destroys everything in its path and takes over any area in weeks. The next morning, I raked my entire front yard and scattered all 10 pounds of mint seeds right before a heavy rainstorm. I watered it every single evening. Within 10 days, my yard was unrecognizable. The yellow patches were gone, replaced by a thick, neon green carpet of lush, fragrant mint. It was beautifully and aggressively green. When Karen did her weekly walk with her clipboard, she stopped dead in her tracks, staring at my lawn in total confusion. She marched up to my porch and banged on the door. Karen demanded to know what I did to my lawn. I smiled and said I followed her instructions perfectly. I pointed out that my lawn now had 100% green coverage, as requested. She screamed that this wasn't grass and threatened a $500 fine. I calmly pulled out the HOA bylaws and asked her to show me the word grass anywhere in Section 4. Her face turned purple. She realized she was trapped by her own poorly written rules. She stomped off, yelling, while my entire yard smelled like a giant, refreshing mojito. Mint doesn't care about property lines. Under the soil, the roots were expanding rapidly. Within a month, the mint crawled under the wooden fences and invaded my neighbors' yards. The neighbor to my left, an 80-year-old retired veteran who hated mowing, absolutely loved it. He told me his yard finally smelled amazing. But the neighbor to my right was the HOA president himself. He spent thousands of dollars a year on professional lawn care. One morning, I looked out my window and saw him on his hands and knees, desperately pulling up dozens of mint sprouts from his pristine Bermuda grass. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, claiming my property was an environmental hazard. I walked into the crowded community center with a big smile. The president banged his gavel and accused me of ruining property values. He demanded $3,000 to excavate my yard and destroy the roots with chemicals. I stood up and told them that if they touched my property, I would sue them for selective enforcement and harassment. I reminded the room that I fulfilled their written demands perfectly, and they couldn't punish me for their own incompetence. That's when the veteran neighbor stood up. He laughed and told the board that the neighborhood hadn't smelled better in 30 years, adding that the mint kept mosquitoes away. Suddenly, other homeowners started agreeing. They were tired of Karen's stupid fines for trash cans or open garage doors. The meeting turned into a disaster for the board. People began shouting, demanding to know why their monthly dues were spent on lawyers to fight a plant instead of fixing the broken community pool. The president completely lost control of the angry crowd. The HOA had to drop all charges. Taking me to court would cost them thousands with zero guarantee of winning. Months later, they rewrote the bylaws to specify allowed types of turf grass. But for my yard, it was too late. The new law couldn't be applied backward. Today, my lawn remains a beautiful field of wild peppermint. The president spent a fortune installing a deep plastic root barrier to protect his lawn. The moral of the story? If someone uses stupid rules to make your life miserable, find a bigger loophole and make them regret it. Don't let petty tyrants step on you. What would you do in my place? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.